First fish of the morning. That on a Strike King Swim Jig in the sexy shade color. Have a look at that. Fish looks slightly misformed. It's got a big head and a very skinny little body. But how's that? First cast on that Strike King Swim Jig in the sexy shade color. I'll show you what it looks like now. There we go, guys. Not a very fat fish, but potential for a big one, and nothing other than on that sexy shade swim jig by Strike King with a little Z-Man trailer on there. Let's get her back in the water. Now guys, I'm not a very big jig fisherman, but this is a swim jig in particular. So this is a jig you can fish slightly faster than your football jigs and your heavy structure jigs. So almost want to say like you've got the option of like a spinnerbait bite where you can cast it in, retrieve it slowly through the body of the water, and then also you've got the option of having it drop to the bottom and still work it off the bottom. But it's slightly smaller in profile, it's a slightly lighter jig, and for that reason they call it a swim jig, so you've got some time to work it through the body of the water. So what I'm doing now is I'm just casting it right next to the reeds here. Let it drop right to the bottom. When dropping to the bottom, keep an eye on your line, because a lot of times the bass, especially if close to structure, as the bait drops down, it'll pick it up. So when you have a look at your line, there's a natural bend in your line. If you start seeing that thing twitching and turning, you know there's a fish at the end of the line, and then you can get ready for the strike. And I think that's what happened here. No, it got snagged. Just went over a reed under the water somewhere. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll give it a slow retrieve and small little twitches. If I can just move back, have a look at the rod tip, just slight twitches. So that thing just goes like that in the water, imitating a small bait fish, and fish should hammer it. Also now, being at the dam quite early, trying to figure out what the fish want today, what the pattern is, you can vary your retrieve. Like now I'll retrieve it slowly, fish it off the bottom, let it drop right to the bottom, and just bump it off the bottom, coming back to the boat. Slowly but surely. The next cast I'll throw in, retrieve it slightly faster through the body of the water, and see if I can't pick up where the fish are feeding this morning. There's a lot of activity at the surface, but I think it might be barbel, because I threw some Strike King sexy dogs now, but yeah, couldn't get them to bite, so I think those might have been barbel. So the fish might be slightly deeper, and that's why I caught that first one on that first cast now. What I also like to do is, especially on a swim jig, you can see the trailer I've put on there. It's one of those Z-Man craws, and that gives a lot of action in the water. So when you just cast it in and retrieve it slowly, almost like a spinnerbait, you still got those legs at the back kicking. So that's also nice action you can add to your swim jig. They usually come without a trailer, but they do have the trailer keep at the back. It's like a spring, and you can just pop any trailer on there. You can put like a crawl, you can even put something with a curly tail on there, like a what are they called, the swordtail worms. So yeah, the options are endless. But remember, it's a small little bait in the water, that so doing big jerks is going to be very unnatural. You just small little twitches like that, and that'll just look like some fish or bug or frog or crawfish or whatever it is in the forage in the water imitating. So small little twitches and then a pause. Small little twitches and a pause. Let it sit on the bottom. If you've got a rocky bottom, even better. Make sure there's some rattles on your jig. Sometimes, I don't know, the fish don't want rattles. I will always put a rattle on there. I just think it's added benefit, and it'll give you that edge. So there we go. There's a little nibble. The fish is swimming towards me. What's going on here? Yep. this is it. So yeah, right into the structure, let it drop to the bottom, and just small little jerks, just like that, to take up the slack. And keep an eye on your line always, because especially with the jig, the fish can just suck it up, swim towards you, you wouldn't even know it, and it'll spit it out before you feel anything. Whilst reeling that swim jig in slowly, I'll keep my rod tip up high, and then once I feel the bump, it gives me time to give the fish some slack, go down, take up that slack, and then strike into the fish there. So that's the reason why I'll keep my rod tip slightly higher than fishing any other crankbait or retrieve bait that's got a faster retrieve. Oh, big bust right in the reeds there. Thick reeds. I don't know if I'll get in there. That's definitely a big bass feeding. You'll see now I've got another retrieve now. Well, retrieve the slack line, almost like a yo-yo retrieve. Quick reel, and then slowly up. Quick reel, slowly up. So what happens is that jig goes down and then up, down and then up, just to see if that's not maybe something the fish are after.